Have you ever been stabbed by someone you trusted most? The truth is, betrayal rarely comes from strangers. It comes from those you love. Today, I'll show you why becoming cold-blooded, even with loved ones, is the only way to survive and win in this ruthless world. Power does not belong to the sentimental. It belongs to those who can act when others hesitate, who can cut when others cling, and who can see beyond personal attachments. Emotions, particularly those tied to affection, loyalty, or love, are the greatest chains a human can wear. They disguise themselves as strengths, as virtues, as signs of humanity. But in the realm of survival and dominance, they are liabilities. Every decision clouded by feeling compromises clarity, and clarity is the foundation of control. When you allow personal bonds to dictate your choices, you surrender authority over yourself to those bonds. The moment you hesitate to make a hard decision because it might hurt someone close to you, you have forfeited your position as the master of your fate. Consider how affection blinds judgment. A leader who cannot punish a friend who fails will see that failure repeated. A man who cannot abandon a partner who drags him down will sink with her. A parent who cannot discipline a child because of love will raise weakness instead of strength. This is not cruelty, it is reality. Sentiment introduces compromise, and compromise is the first crack in the armor of authority. To wield power, you must separate what you feel from what must be done. This is detachment, not the absence of care, but the ability to control care, to lock it away when action is required. Power demands that you see people as they are, not as you wish them to be. When emotions color perception, you imagine loyalty where there is convenience, devotion where there is self-interest, and honesty where there are hidden motives. Those who are closest to you are not immune to these impulses. In fact, they are often more dangerous because you refuse to suspect them. Betrayal comes easiest to those who know your heart, and so long as you expose it, you offer them the knife. Detachment shields you from this blindness. It allows you to measure every person by their actions, not their words, by their results, not their promises. Detach yourself and you gain freedom, the freedom to act decisively, the freedom to protect yourself from manipulation, the freedom to choose based on strategy rather than sentiment. In every arena where power is contested, whether in politics, business, or personal life, the ability to remain unaffected by emotional appeals is the dividing line between those who rule and those who are ruled. A man who cannot refuse a plea will be used by every beggar. A ruler who cannot ignore tears will be destroyed by those who cry for mercy today and plot rebellion tomorrow. Detachment also breeds respect. The world senses when you are unmoved by flattery, by pleading, by emotional traps. Those who cannot sway you will fear you. Those who cannot manipulate you will adapt to your strength. When you are known as one who cannot be controlled by sentiment, you become the one who controls. Others will mask their intentions. They will approach you carefully, and in doing so, they reveal their weakness. This is how power consolidates, not through brutality alone, but through an unwavering refusal to be led by the heart. Many will call this inhuman, but those who criticize detachment are often those who profit from emotional control over others. They will preach love while they exploit it. They will condemn coldness while using warmth as a weapon. Do not be deceived. The world is not shaped by those who feel deeply, but by those who act regardless of feeling. Detachment does not strip you of humanity. It prevents others from using your humanity against you. It grants you the ability to protect what truly matters, not what merely tugs at your heart in the moment. Loyalty is spoken of as if it were eternal, a sacred bond unshaken by time or circumstance. But this is a pleasing illusion, nothing more than a story told to keep people obedient. The reality is that loyalty is never permanent. It bends and shifts with advantage, with necessity, with survival. Men are loyal only so long as it suits their interests. The servant follows his master because the master feeds him, not because of some undying devotion. The friend stands by you when there is gain in standing by you, but when ruin approaches, when standing by you means sacrifice, that loyalty withers into dust. Understanding this truth is essential if you desire power, because the greatest mistake one can make is to believe that affection guarantees allegiance. It does not. Even those who love you will betray you when their interest demands it. A brother will turn against a brother for inheritance. A wife will abandon her vows when another offers greater security. A soldier will desert his leader when defeat becomes certain. These are not exceptions. They are the natural order of human behavior. To expect otherwise is to build castles on sand. The wise man never bases his authority on loyalty alone. He knows that loyalty is not a virtue, it is a transaction. It is purchased, it is maintained, and it is lost when the terms no longer satisfy. If you rely on the supposed steadfastness of others, you place your power in hands that are not your own. To secure control, you must tie loyalty to fear, to necessity, to advantage. Love may inspire warm words, but it is fear and self-interest that compel action. The man who follows you because he fears the consequences of betrayal will remain by your side longer than the man who follows you out of love. Fear does not vanish when fortune changes, affection does. This is why rulers who depend on being loved collapse when hardship comes. The people cheer them in times of prosperity, but the moment famine arrives, the moment enemies press at the gates, the same crowd abandons them, curses them, even joins the enemy. Love is fragile, easily broken by hunger, fear, or the promise of reward elsewhere. But those who are bound to you by necessity, those who cannot afford to betray you because their survival depends on your strength, remain loyal far longer. When you control the conditions that tie others to you, you control their loyalty. It is also dangerous to imagine that loyalty grows stronger with time. In truth, familiarity often breeds contempt. The longer someone remains close, the more clearly they see your flaws, the more they begin to believe they deserve what you possess. A trusted ally can become the most ambitious rival, precisely because he knows your weaknesses. This is why the betrayal of close companions is so common. They were once loyal, yes, but only because it suited them. Once the scales tipped, once ambition or envy outweighed affection, their loyalty vanished. If you understand that loyalty is conditional, you protect yourself. You stop expecting eternal devotion and instead manage relationships like one manages assets. You constantly calculate the balance of interest, ensuring that those around you always find more value in serving you than in opposing you. You provide reward when necessary, you maintain fear when required, and you never leave your position dependent on the goodwill of others. In this way, betrayal does not surprise you. It becomes predictable, even manageable. Many recoil from this view because it strips away the romantic illusions of friendship, family, and love. Yet observe history, and you will see that blood ties have been drowned in ambition, that friends have become enemies over wealth, that lovers have turned against each other when survival demanded it. What binds people is not sentiment but circumstance. Change the circumstance, and loyalty changes with it. To ignore this truth is to live in chains. To accept it is to rule with clarity. The world does not reward the gentle heart, it consumes it. Survival belongs to those who can silence their emotions when the moment demands action. Coldness is not cruelty for its own sake. It is a weapon, a shield, and a strategy. In times of betrayal, scarcity, or danger, warmth becomes a weakness that others exploit. Coldness, on the other hand, is the discipline that allows you to endure when everyone else collapses. The ability to think without pity, to act without hesitation, and to cut without regret is the very quality that separates those who live from those who perish. When resources are scarce, sentiment kills. Imagine a leader during famine who tries to save every mouth out of compassion. He will exhaust supplies, and all will starve, including himself. But the leader who remains cold, who measures survival against affection, who cuts off those who weaken the whole, ensures that a core remains strong enough to rebuild. Harsh decisions guarantee survival, while merciful indecision spreads ruin. In such times, coldness is not merely preferable, it is necessary. It is the law of nature disguised in human form, because nature itself shows no pity. The storm does not spare the weak, the predator does not mourn the prey. To live, one must embrace the same clarity. In betrayal, coldness is your only guard. Those you cherish may turn against you, and if you hesitate to strike back because of lingering affection, you will fall to their knife. Survival demands the ability to sever ties instantly, to cut out the traitor without mourning the bond. History is filled with rulers, generals, and even ordinary men undone, because they could not bring themselves to punish those closest to them. They allowed sentiment to overrule necessity, and in doing so, they invited their own destruction. Coldness erases hesitation. It allows you to see betrayal for what it is, an infection that must be cut away before it spreads. To survive in hostile times, you must also recognize that pity is a trap. When enemies wish to weaken you, they appeal to your compassion. They place before you images of suffering, voices of despair, pleas that strike at your heart. But if you allow yourself to be moved, you shift from master to servant of your emotions. Coldness denies them this weapon. It lets you look upon suffering without becoming bound by it, to see clearly whether aiding it strengthens you or drains you. Without such coldness, you become an easy mark, a tool for those who understand how to manipulate the soft-hearted. Even within personal life, coldness preserves survival. The man who cannot detach from a destructive relationship remains chained to ruin. The woman who cannot leave behind a family that weakens her remains bound to mediocrity. To advance, to preserve the strength of your own existence, you must be prepared to be cold with even those you love. Affection has value only when it does not threaten survival. When it does, the choice is clear. Survival must outweigh sentiment, otherwise both are lost. Coldness also builds resilience. The one who expects loyalty and kindness is shattered when betrayal or cruelty comes. But the one who has trained himself to be cold, to expect the selfish nature of man, to anticipate treachery, is never broken. He accepts the hardness of life before it strikes him. He is not surprised when others fail. He is not wounded when friends abandon him. He is not ruined when the world shows its teeth. Coldness makes him unshakable. He becomes like stone in a storm, scarred perhaps, but never destroyed. Moreover, survival is not simply about living. It is about positioning yourself to thrive when others collapse. Coldness ensures that you are not carried away by the tide of sentiment that drags the masses down. When others are wasting strength on pity, you are conserving your own. When others hesitate, you strike. When others mourn, you advance. Coldness grants the ability to act when action is most difficult, and this is when the greatest opportunities arise. The spoils of survival always fall to the one who can act while others falter. Power thrives on deception, and the greatest deception is the mask of warmth. People yearn to believe in kindness, in affection, in the comforting illusion that those who hold power also hold love for them. They trust the smile, they are disarmed by the gentle word, and they surrender their guard to those who appear warm. But beneath that mask must lie calculation, a mind untouched by the emotion it pretends to display. To succeed, you must become a master of this art, showing the world what it wishes to see, while concealing the cold logic that drives every decision. If you reveal only calculation, you invite fear without loyalty. People will recoil, they will resist, and they will unite against you. But if you display warmth, if you present yourself as a figure of trust and familiarity, they will not merely accept your rule. They will embrace it. They will open their hearts willingly, never realizing that your actions are guided, not by the affection you project, but by the necessity of strategy. To appear warm is to build a disguise so convincing that even those closest to you believe in it, even as you silently measure them as tools, assets, or threats. This duality is the essence of control. The crowd does not follow reason, it follows appearance. They want to be charmed, they want to be flattered, they want to believe they matter. Give them what they crave. Smile when you wish to strike, comfort when you plan to deny, speak of loyalty while plotting your advantage. Let them cling to the illusion, for it keeps them docile and blind to your true intentions. Meanwhile, your mind remains untouched by their faith, cold and sharp in its calculations, always focused on the outcome rather than the sentiment. There is immense strength in this contrast. When you appear warm, you gain information freely. People reveal themselves when they believe you are kind. They confess the secrets, they expose their weaknesses, they trust you with their ambitions. They do so because they think you are safe, because the warmth you project convinces them that you mean no harm. Yet it is precisely this information that strengthens your hand. Every word they speak becomes material for your strategy. Every weakness they expose becomes leverage. You can only gather such intelligence by cloaking yourself in warmth, for a cold exterior breeds silence and caution in others. In times of conflict, this mask becomes even more crucial. When others see you as benevolent, they do not expect ruthlessness. They underestimate you. They dismiss the possibility that your smile conceals a knife. And in that underestimation lies their downfall. You strike when they are unprepared, and the blow is always more devastating because it comes from the hand they trusted. A wolf that looks like a wolf is feared and avoided. A wolf that wears the skin of a lamb can walk among the flock freely until it chooses to kill. This is why appearing warm is not merely advantageous but essential. It allows you to approach without resistance, to maneuver without suspicion, to dominate without open struggle. This mask also preserves your reputation. Men will forgive cruelty if it is hidden behind charm, but they will never forgive naked ruthlessness. The same act, when done with a smile, is seen as leadership, while without the disguise it is condemned as tyranny. Appearances shape judgment, not truth. You must therefore cultivate warmth as carefully as you cultivate strategy. Let no one see the calculation that governs you. Let them see only the gentle exterior. Behind this curtain, You are free to move without constraint, for the world believes in what it sees, not what it cannot imagine. But to wear such a mask requires discipline. Many lose themselves in their own performance, beginning to believe the warmth they project. This is fatal. The mask must never become the face. You must always remember that your charm is a weapon, not a reflection of your heart. The smile is not born of love, it is born of necessity. The kind word is not spoken from affection, but from design. The moment you forget this, the moment you confuse appearance with reality, you become the victim of your own deception. Calculation must always remain untouched, guiding you from behind the mask, never corrupted by the warmth it creates. Mercy is celebrated as the highest of virtues, the quality that distinguishes the noble ruler from the tyrant, the compassionate man from the brute. But in the raw arena of power, mercy is a danger disguised as goodness. To extend mercy is to show hesitation, and hesitation is an opening that others will exploit. Those who beg for your mercy today will use their survival tomorrow to weaken you, to plot against you, to test the limits of your restraint. Mercy, though it may win fleeting praise, sows the seeds of long-term ruin. The one who spares an enemy out of pity creates not gratitude, but resentment. An enemy who has been spared does not become loyal, he becomes patient. He carries the humiliation of his defeat like a burning coal in his chest, and the memory of your mercy does not inspire devotion but revenge. The spared foe plots in silence, waiting for the moment when your guard lowers, when your strength wanes, when fortune turns. What seemed an act of humanity becomes the very cause of your downfall. History is filled with examples of men undone by the enemies they should have crushed but instead forgave. Mercy in such cases is not kindness. It is the planting of daggers in your own future. Even with those closest to you, mercy breeds weakness. The subordinate who fails and is spared will fail again, because he has learned that incompetence has no cost. The family member who disrespects and suffers no consequence will grow bolder in their insolence. The ally who betrays and is pardoned will betray again, more cleverly, knowing that you lack the resolve to cut ties. Mercy, when given to those who do not deserve it, is not virtue, it is permission. And permission for weakness is poison in any system of power. Mercy also erodes fear, and fear is the bedrock of control. Love may inspire temporary loyalty, but fear ensures obedience. The man who fears punishment restrains his impulses, tempers his ambition, and acts cautiously. The man who trusts in mercy grows reckless. He tests limits, he challenges boundaries, he takes liberties he would never dare if he believed punishment was certain. In sparing one, you embolden many. The spectacle of mercy does not elevate your stature, it diminishes it. Those who watch you forgive begin to wonder how far they can go before they too will be excused. And once that thought takes root, your authority begins to rot from within. It must also be understood that mercy is not always interpreted as kindness. More often, it is seen as weakness. When you forgive, when you hold back punishment, when you show pity, others do not admire your humanity. They question your strength. They begin to doubt your resolve, to whisper that you do not have the will to do what must be done. And doubt is more dangerous than hatred. A man who is hated can still be feared, but a man who is doubted is already defeated in the minds of others. Once they no longer fear your hand, rebellion festers, disobedience spreads, and your authority dissolves. True stability does not come from mercy but from decisiveness. The man who punishes swiftly and without hesitation is respected, even if he is disliked. His subordinates know the consequences of failure. His enemies know the cost of resistance, and his allies know the price of betrayal. Fear of consequence maintains order far more effectively than the hope of forgiveness. The world, harsh as it is, does not respond to compassion. It responds to strength. To act with mercy is to mistake sentiment for strategy, and in the realm of power, sentiment is a flaw that sooner or later demands blood as its price. Those who cling to mercy also rob themselves of clarity. They imagine that by sparing another, they win devotion, that by forgiving, they inspire loyalty. This is a comforting illusion, but illusions have no place in survival. The spared are not transformed into allies, they are transformed into liabilities. Each act of mercy becomes a burden you must carry, each spared enemy or pardoned traitor a weight dragging you toward ruin. The man who believes mercy secures love does not understand the nature of men. They respect strength, they follow necessity, they exploit kindness.